within you. But not everybody is familiar with what the bow symbolizes. So when a person comes into a Buddhist shrine room, it's important to be aware that in the Buddhist shrine room are images of the Buddhas and other awakened beings. Some of these images, the statues, for example, actually have little pills in them that contain Buddha relics. And so these little Buddha relics are a way of bringing the blessing of the Buddha right here into this room. And when we walk into this room, it's like we are coming to meet the Buddha. We're coming in to meet the Buddha in the symbolic presence of the statues and so forth. Now, the statues do not care if we bow. I can pretty much tell you that. And it's possible that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas may not care if we bow. So the idea is we do it in order to cultivate respect inside our hearts for that which we would like to become. We would like to become like the Buddha, okay? And we'd like to be that way. We'd like to have that kind of serenity and peace within us. We'd like to have that kind of wisdom. We'd like to have that kind of compassion. And so when we make our bow, the symbolic actions of the bow quietly cultivate an attitude of openness and quietly cultivate a quality of mindfulness that will lead us to more compassion, that will lead us to more wisdom. And so everything we do, think, and say slowly wears a groove in us. And we're trying to make those grooves as positive as possible. So I'm going to demonstrate how a prostration or a bow is done. Those of you who are in a standing position and not in a position to get on the floor, either because you're a little older like me, or you have a health condition, you can do all of the parts of a bow while standing. So we are good. And I would like to invite our shrine keeper, Julian, would you mind coming up and being the not standing up person who is an example of a bow? Okay, you can come and stand next to me. Okay, we start by placing our hands at our forehead, and we think, I offer my body to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We place our hands, folded hands at our throat, thinking, I offer my speech to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We place our hands at our heart, and we think, I dedicate my mind to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Then, if we are capable, we go down on hands and knees and place our forehead on the floor. And by doing that, we think, I will work to liberate beings. Standing up, we think, I will liberate beings. I will work for the benefit of beings is the sitting, going down, and the I will liberate beings is the getting up. I got that a little bit wrong. Let's do it a second time because it's customary to do the bows 3 times. Now, those of you in a standing position, you can bow forward and then come up from the bow. If you're in standing position, you only have to bow slightly forward. Okay, let's do it again. Offering bodies to the Buddha, speech, offering the mind, working for the benefit of beings. And then getting up, we are liberating beings. And then again, the third time, we offer our body, speech, and mind, working for the benefit of beings and liberating beings. And then we finish the bow with one more touching of the forehead, throat, and heart. Okay, you've had your first lesson. Congratulations. Have a seat, please. Thank you, Julie. All right. Had to make sure I turned off my cell phone. Always a good idea. One time I was leading prayers in this, at KTC. I was leading prayers one evening at KTC and I heard the phone ring and I was somebody's phone ring and I was a little bit astonished. And then I realized it was mine. And I was leading the prayer, so that was a little awkward. We're going to begin, now that we have entered our Buddhist shrine room and saluted the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we're going to say an opening prayer. The opening prayer we usually use here is the prayer of taking refuge. The words are in the Buddha, the Dharma, and Assembly Most Excellent. That's the prayer we're going to recite. What we're going to do is we're going to recite it 2 times in English and once in Tibetan. Folks at home, I apologize for not giving you a copy. Okay, you're all set? John, you're on it. Don, you're on it. Okay, here we go. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Assembly Most Excellent, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Assembly Most Excellent, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. And now, don't worry if you can't pronounce it perfectly, because neither can I. We will attempt to recite it once in Tibetan to get a blessing from the language, which was developed just to transmit the Dharma. O Sanje Chudan Soji Chonamla Jang Chu Pardu Dani Kyap Suchi Daji Chin Soji Be Sunam Ki Drola Penchir Sanjay Druparsho. Thanks, everyone. Now we've come into the shrine room. We have saluted the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We've sat and we have recited a prayer of taking refuge. One of my teachers told me that we recite the prayer of taking refuge and engendering the Bodhisattva attitude. We recite this prayer of taking refuge and engendering the Bodhisattva attitude at the beginning, so that everything that follows it, all of the practices and prayers that follow this refuge and bodhicitta, are made more effective, because we're doing it for the stated purpose of benefiting beings. And so now we're also going to do another thing that's a little uncharacteristic of a Tibetan Buddhist learning program. We're going to sit for about 2 minutes and just let our minds come to rest a bit. And so if you're familiar with the methods of meditation, we're just going to sit quietly, and you can observe the breath as it comes in and goes out, or you can mentally recite a mantra that you like, or just let your mind rest a bit. And we're only going to sit for a couple of minutes just to kind of calm down and to open our minds a bit for the lesson. All right, thanks very much for just sitting quietly for a few minutes. When we come to a Dharma program, and it's on a topic that we are unfamiliar with, sometimes we might feel a little excited and a little apprehensive. So I thought it might be good just to sit for a couple of minutes. So thanks for sitting with us. Now, the folks here in the gathering at KTC have already been advised about this, but the first thing I want to do is make sure I find out what you want to learn. So I'm going to ask the folks on the Zoom audience as well. You can type your comments or questions into the chat. And the folks here, if anybody has something that they would like to make sure we cover today, you can put up your hand and I'll write it down. Anybody have something you want to make sure we cover today? Something you're really curious about? Yes, sir.
I'm really interested in the execution of mantras, recites, practices. Mudras, so mudras in our practice.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
For example, like Amitabha Practice.
Oh, sure. The questioner, I'll repeat for the folks on in the audience here and online. The questioner is asking for instructions, wants to make sure we have instructions on the hand gestures. The hand gestures, which in Tibetan Buddhist tradition are called mudra. M-U-D-R-A, the mudra, or the hand gestures, which are used as part of offerings in Buddhist chant rituals. So we'll definitely cover that. Anybody else have something you want to make sure you learn today? Something you're curious about? Yes. Good. Yeah. Good question. I will look for them printed out. I think I have a resource for that. Because the person is asking, will there be a printed explainer document for the hand gestures? And the answer is yes, but not today. I did forget to make one for today because I was going to rely, I'm embarrassed to say this, I was going to rely on my video that I put on YouTube. But I also understand that some people learn better from visual paper cues. And so I'll make sure that one of those gets sent to you later. Yeah, I understand. There are some practices we do here on a regular basis at KTC, and one of them is the chant of the Bodhisattva Chenrezig and the Buddha Amitabha. And there are some hand gestures that are used in offering there. I actually, through the good fortune of knowing somebody in California who helped me out with this, I made a video showing those, and it's on YouTube. And I'll make sure that in the follow-up email I send to everyone that you get a link to that video so you can watch and study on your own. But I'm almost sure I have a visual picture of those somewhere. I will look and see if I can find it. Pretty sure I know where it is, but I'll look. Oh, that's right. The old page of inserts. Yes. Oh, very good. Okay. We have a resource guy here who's going to scan in an older visual version for us to send you. So thank you for helping us cover that. Yes, in the back.
Okay, we have 3 questions from online so far.
Sure.
Could you explain the representation of the bowls on the shrine?
Okay. Got that.
Okay. Someone else is asking about the mudras and the Amitabha San.
Oh, very good. So we've got a lot of interest in that.
Sadhana.
Okay, that will be in the second half of the program today. So yay.
Great. And the proper use of the bell and dorje.
Okay, bell. Okay. Okay. Some of this will be covered today, and then those of you who have a special interest in the Medicine Buddha sadhana or the Medicine Buddha chant, Kathy Lama Jackson, our resident Medicine Buddha expert, will be teaching on the chanting, the bell and vajra, and the mudras for the Medicine Buddha sadhana. Is she the first Saturday in February? Yes, she's Saturday, February 4th, and she'll be here. We just announced it this week, so you can go on Eventbrite and check that out, as well as our social media. Yes, Don.
Linda says, I have noticed that there are differences in the translation of the refuge prayer within the Kagyu lineage.
Yeah.
Is it more the intention of the prayer rather than the words themselves?
Okay, that's a good one. I don't need to repeat that, do I, Don?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, so I have an answer to that question right away, actually, which is that the questioner is right. Tibetan is translated lots of different ways by lots of different English speakers. And a lot of the translation depends on the training of the English speaker who is translating, and then also their understanding of the meaning of the words. And so, for example, some people will call the Sangha, but in this prayer, this version of the prayer, they call them the assembly most excellent. There are 3 jewels of refuge in Buddhism. These are our I guess you could say our 3 trusted authorities in this world, which are the Buddha, who's the enlightened one, his teaching, which is the Dharma, and the assembly of practitioners and teachers that follow the Buddha's Dharma, and that's the Sangha. And so different translators will give different glosses on those meanings. But in the end, it's all about saying to the Buddha, I want to become like you. And it says, this prayer says, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. There are various ways of saying that, but that's pretty much always the same meaning. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds. What's interesting is that the prayer actually uses the word etc., the Tibetan version of etc., which is sok here. The word in that line is dagi jin sok. Jin means generosity, and sok means and the rest. And so forth is basically what it means. And so some people will actually say generosity and other good deeds, or generosity and the rest, or they will say the 6 generosity and the 6 perfect virtues, or, and so forth. And then it says, may I achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. So generally the meanings will stay pretty consistent, but the questioner is right. What we bring to the prayer, what we bring as people who are reciting the prayer, what we bring to it and our intention has a great deal of meaning, and it's very important. So in a way, it is going beyond the words is what we bring to it. So thanks for asking that question. Yes, and another Zoom question. Yes.
Will there be a PDF of the Medicine Buddha sadhana?
Yes, the PDF of the Medicine Buddha sadhana will be posted on the Eventbrite for the Medicine Buddha class, the sadhana, but it's also going to be on the KTC Columbus website, which is columbusktc.org. Go to the virtual shrine room page and click on Dharma downloads, and you will, the very latest copy of the Medicine Buddha sadhana has just been put up this week, as a matter of fact. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and Johanna.
Hi, with the top the statue and honor and the instruments used for some of the practices, what is the significance?
Okay, Mhm.
And lifting and individuals possibly, purchase some of the items.
Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, so the questioner is asking about the instruments that are used in Tibetan Buddhist ritual chanting. Those of you who have ever seen videos of Tibetan Buddhist ritual chanting know that some of the ritual chanting involves drum beating, the playing of cymbals, the playing of 3 different kinds of horns, as well as the blowing of conch shells. And these ritual instruments, the questioner is asking, what are the significance of them, and is there a way that people can buy them? And the answer is, that's going to take a minute to explain the significance, because I don't entirely understand it. And as far as purchasing them, we are currently looking for a source. So yeah, we don't have a place to buy them yet. Now, among people who haven't asked questions, is there anybody else who would like to have something today that want to make sure we learn? Yes, Ivan? Yes, shrine offerings. I will, we're actually going to cover that first. So yeah. Anybody else? Oh, thank you. You're very kind. Yeah. Anybody else have something you want to make sure you learn today? Had to be sure. Okay, thanks very much. So as was mentioned, we're actually going to start with the shrine. I have, let's see, could I have 2 volunteers to help me distribute the handouts for today? Yep, very good. And you can get John to help you too. And would you be able to assist me? Hey, thanks so much. And let's see if we have enough. Let's see. I think this might be enough to cover everybody here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, I think we have just enough. Woohoo. Folks at home, my apologies. These were put on, I believe they were put on the Eventbrite site, but I will make sure that you all get them in the email and the follow-up email. Now I'm having a memory fade and I cannot remember if I put them on the Eventbrite page or not. This little packet of information I created for today starts with a Dharma aspiration that we're all going to recite together. This was given by the 16th Chawang Karmapa, the founder of our center, to his Dharma students when they took refuge. So we're going to recite it together because it kind of speaks about the meaning of everything we do here. So this is the Dharma aspiration prayer. We'll recite it just one time through for the purposes of time. However innumerable beings are, I vow to save them. However inexhaustible the passions are, I vow to extinguish them. However immeasurable the dharmas are, I vow to master them. However incomparable the Buddha truth is, I vow to obtain it. Now, the reason that I wanted to start with this is because often people who like learning about ritual can sometimes get lost in ritual. They can go for the style rather than the substance. They can be interested in the sizzle rather than the tofu. This is a vegetarian example. So many people get distracted by ritual and they think of the ritual as being an end in itself, whereas what my ritual teacher, Lama Dunda, my first ritual teacher, said that the purpose of ritual is as first and foremost, to ground us in the present moment. It's a path of mindfulness. Because when we are carrying out any ritual, whether it's offering or bowing or anything, we are mindful and present in the moment with our intention of making offerings and benefiting beings. And so by doing that, you see, the ritual brings us into the present moment. And then he said, after one becomes proficient in ritual, after one learns the ritual and becomes proficient in the ritual then transforms from just an exercise of mindfulness into an enhancement of our presence with the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, an enhancement of our meditation, an enhancement of our presence with and our intention through the practice. So the ritual is beautiful. It grounds us in the present moment. And then once we learn it and are proficient in it, it becomes an enhancement for our practice, helping us to be more present with every aspect of our practice. So that's a little helpful tip. I'm going to ask everyone to who's on using a handout is that the third page contains something called the Tibetan Shrine. I'm going to skip through it briefly in case you'd like to follow along. It begins by saying, why have an altar? And it says a proper old altar holds images or representation of the Buddha's enlightened body, speech, and mind, which serve as reminders of the goal of Buddhist practice, which is to develop those qualities in oneself and to be able to fully benefit all beings. So that's the purpose. The second topic is where to place the altar. The best place is in a separate shrine room, if you can have one. But if not, in a special corner of a room you already have. I frequently tell the story of my friend who had a beautiful bedroom, but no place for a shrine. So what she did was she took a little standing screen and screened off one little corner of her room next to a window. And that became her little meditation area. She had her little altar in there and her little seat, and that was her little private space. Then the third topic is the objects and what they represent. I'm going to skip through quickly or summarize quickly by saying, usually there's an image of the Buddha, whether it's a statue or a painting or a picture. The second thing is a Dharma book. It could be a Western book. It could be an Eastern book. It can be any kind of book that has Buddhist teaching in it. The most ideal is the Heart Sutra, which is a distillation of all of the truths of the Buddha. The third object that people will have on a shrine is sometimes it will be a picture of a Sangha, not of the Indian master Asanga, a member of the Sangha, teaching Sangha such as His Holiness Dalai Lama or others to represent the Sangha. But there will sometimes also be a small reliquary placed on a shrine. These reliquaries in Sanskrit are called stupa, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, U, P as in Paul, A, stupa, which means mound. And inside that stupa will be small relics to represent the mind of the Buddha. So the objects on the shrine can represent the three jewels. The objects on the shrine can represent the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. And we can make offerings. We can make offerings to this and in front of these objects. Now I'm going to go off of the page and I'm going to direct your attention to our shrine in front of us here. I'm going to actually stand and walk over to it and introduce you to the offering bowls. Don, will this be visible? Will this be visible? Thank you. There are 7 offering bowls on a Tibetan shrine. Sometimes there are 8, and I'll explain why in a moment. These represent the gifts that one would present to a guest in one's home in ancient times. When your friends come in from the dusty road and so forth, you would give them offerings that please the senses. The first is water for drinking. The second is water for washing the dust off one's feet in ancient times. The third is flowers, which are delightful to the sight and to the smell. Incense, which also is a delight to the smell. A lamp. The symbolism of the lamp is that it is dispelling of ignorance. Perfume. Perfume is symbolic of good conduct and politeness and kindness. Food is the next offering, which also delights the senses and nourishes one. And here in our final bowl, we have conch shells, which are symbolic of the musical instrument, the conch, because music is also offered. So those of you who are musicians, you are honored. Water for drinking, water for washing, flowers, incense, lamps, perfume, food, and music. Those are 8 offerings in all. Some shrines will only have 7. And in place of a bowl, they will actually have, as we do here, they will have a lamp without a bowl underneath it as their lamp offering. It's just a different way of displaying it. Any questions about this? Because I know that we had a questioner earlier asking about the shrine. Ivan, did that cover what you were? Okay, awesome. Yes.
Is it acceptable to have water in each bowl?
Yes, it is acceptable to have water in each bowl. We'll call these the elaborate offerings that are on our shrine here today. We have a mixture of grains in the bowl. And I asked one of my teachers, well, why grain? And he said, in the old days, it was thought that what you placed your offering on multiplied the number of that offering. So instead of just offering one flower, there are as many flowers being offered as there are grains of rice in the bowl, which I just think is a lovely idea, isn't it? I have many Dharma friends who have difficulty using grain because they have insects or other kinds of difficulties, and they use little chips of semi-precious stones instead. And but the idea behind it is this. But if you're like me and you are a busy person who has a hard time keeping up a bowl with lots of grain in it, you know, because every few months you have to change it, right? Because it would get a little gross after a few months. Well, since I am busy and let's just face it, I'm a little lazy. I use only water in my bowls. But the reason I do that is so that I will make that offering. Because if I had to do all the fancy stuff, I might get, small ear problem. I have small ears, so the standards don't fit me. So it's better to make a simplified offering than not to make one at all. Another question, yes?
Could you please explain what the lamp represents again?
Please say that again.
Could you please explain what the lamp represents again?
I still do not understand the words.
Could you please explain what the lamp, the light, the lamp?
Oh, the lamp offering represents. Yes, it represents. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. It's just like I was having a moment there. The lamp offering represents the cultivation of wisdom, which dispels the darkness. I don't have the 1-for-1 symbolism memorized, so I won't, but it will be in the document that I send you. Yes, okay.
And how often should the offerings be changed? Daily?
Right. Yeah, in fact, this leads into the next subject, which is, we did cover this last month, but I knew that there would be some new people here today, so I decided to cover it a second time. And that is, how does one open one shrine in the morning and how does one close one shrine in the evening? One opens one shrine in the morning by approaching the shrine and offering 3 bows. Whether you bow from a standing position or get down on the floor, doesn't matter. When you meet your shrine in the morning, you bow with all of the thoughts about that, like I'm offering my body, speech, and mind, and I'm working for the benefit of beings, I'm liberating beings, and so on. And then after you've bowed 3 times, you will go to your shrine where the bowls will actually be turned upside down. Because the night before, when you emptied your shrine bowls, you placed them upside down so there were no empty bowls in front of your guests. And so then you would you would turn up the water bowls. And if you have 7 water bowls, you would turn all 7 up. You would take a pitcher of water. If we have a pitcher of water, we would put a few drips of water in each of the water bowls. And then spoon a little bit of rice or gemstones into these. But if they're all water, you just drip a little water into each of the bowls so they are not empty. Then you take care and carefully pour water into the bowl. And as you can see, the bowls here are about a rice grain apart, which is what my teacher called for. He said you put them about a rice grain apart from each other. And then he says you fill them to within a little bit. You have to leave a little space between the top of the water and the top of the bowl so they're not awkward when you try to take them off later in the day. So you fill them most of the way to the top. And after you have filled them most of the way to the top, you could then make an offering of them or purify any obstacles within them by taking either a stick of incense and putting it in a small pitcher of water or a little whisk, some type of they make little whisks that you can use to sprinkle. They're very cute. What I tell people to do, get a brand new broom and snap off a tiny little thread, a few threads of the broom and tie it off with red string at the bottom. And then you'll have a traditional Tibetan offering blessing whisk. I mean, it's wild, right? And so then you put it in the pitcher and then sprinkle water across it while saying the mantra Om, O-M, A-H, Hung, H-U-N-G, Om, Hung. And that purifies any impurities in the offering. There's a further mantra that you could use to consecrate the offerings, but that's a little bit more of a complex procedure, and I decided not to include it today. But it will be included in a future class. Now, a lot of people ask me, what do you recite and what do you think while you are pouring this water? I say, for me, I mostly think about not spilling the water. That's what I think about mostly. But after a while, I had memorized the refuge prayer, and I recite the refuge prayer while I am pouring the water. And interestingly enough, later on, Khenpo Rinpoche, my teacher, Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche, also said that it was a good thing to recite the refuge prayer while you fill your bowls. So I think that covers what you were looking for, right? At the end of the day, you come back to your shrine, and you again offer 3 bows to the shrine, and then you go to the opposite end. After you've done your evening prayers and so forth, you come to the shrine and then you empty if they're all water, you empty all of the bowls. But if there are only these 3 water bowls, you only empty the water bowls. You wipe them out so they're dry and you place them upside down on the shrine. The bowls that contain grains and objects such as the conch shell, the flour, and so on, those do not need to be changed daily. I tell people when they start to look dusty, that's a good time to change them. And that will vary from person to person and house to house. So anyway, that's I'm glad we got a chance to cover that today. Any questions from here? Yes, sir.
As we're filling up water. Instead of saying refuge prayer, and say, well, I can ask you.
Sure. Yes, I think the questioner is saying, is an alternate to recite a mantra such as Om Mani Padme Hum or Om Mani Padme Hum while we are putting the water in the bowls. I think all of those are fine. Yeah. Other questions from here? Okay, I'm glad we were able to cover that today. Now, believe it or not, we're approaching the end of our first hour together. I'm going to skip over the remainder of the article about the Buddhist Shrine because you'll have a chance to read it later on and get some more information. I actually also included a teaching called Clouds of Merit, Making and Keeping a Buddhist Shrine, which explains the meaning of the 7 offering bowls and a little bit about how to be present with them. The next page is about the prostrations. Remember, we taught the prostrations first thing? And so it's Khenpo Rinpoche's explanation of the prostrations. And then the next page after that, this is just full of information, is a little bit about shrine room etiquette. I'm going to cover this briefly, and then we're going to move on to one of the other stated purposes of this, which is how to use a Buddhist rosary or mala. That we'll cover the malas right before we have our break. So if you find the page marked Shrine Room Etiquette, we'll be there. Shrine Room Etiquette. Our home monastery, Karma Triana Dharma Chakra, created this little shrine room etiquette guide for people so that they could feel comfortable coming into a shrine room and not think that they're doing something wrong. Because I love the respect that people show to the Dharma. When people come in our shrine room here, I just can't believe how respectful they are. And some of them are actually a little bit overly respectful. They worry. And I don't want anybody to worry. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today. So this says, with respect to the Buddhas and the teachers guiding us on the path, it says, please rise when the Lama enters to teach. Don't worry about that. But it's nice when for me, you don't have to worry about it. But when our major teachers come in, it's customary to stand out of respect for the Dharma that they bring. As one of my teachers said, you are not a big deal, but the Dharma is a big deal. And so he said, you have to learn how to cope with people standing up when you enter the room and things like that. And it says, the second says, please don't sit or lounge in the shrine room with your feet pointed toward the Buddha images, paintings, or shrine. This is a custom that developed in Tibetan culture because it is thought that to do so is disrespectful. You're kind of showing the lowest part of your body to somebody, and it's considered to not be respectful. I have had people who have back injuries who can only sit that way. And I have just said, no problem, just point your feet in the other direction. Then it says you may observe Buddhists doing 3 prostrations to the shrine when they enter. If you're not Buddhist, you don't have to feel obligated to do it. But if you want to do it, it's perfectly fine. With respect to the Dharma and the teachings that bear the truth of the path, please don't place texts and prayers on the floor, but rather on a cushion or hold them in your hand. Don't crumple or mark them, nor take them with you for personal use without first speaking to the shrine keeper or the teacher. So this idea of not placing books on the floor is it's a little bit comical because we do it all the time in America. We put all books on the floor all the time. And so people think it's a little excessive. But again, this is about the fact that the Dharma, the book's not the big deal, the Dharma that's in it is the big deal. And so when we are mindful about the placement of books, then that's helpful. I frequently tell the story of my friend, the Christian minister, and how I went into his office at one point and I saw a hymnal or a Bible, I forget what it was, on the floor. And I said, if you were a Buddhist, you'd never get away with that. And then another time I went into his office and it was on the floor again. And I looked at him and I looked at the Bible, and I looked at him and I looked at the Bible. He went over and picked the Bible up, and like a good Tibetan Buddhist, although he was Christian, he touched it to his head to remind him of where it really belonged as an object of blessing, and then he put it on the table. Now, I have since shared with my friend that I share this story, and he said it didn't happen like that. Really, it didn't happen like that. I never put my Bible on the floor. And I said, okay, fair enough, I must be mistaken. Anyway, love you, bro. Anyway, so, okay. All right. And so then with respect to the Sangha, please be mindful of others. Please enter quietly and take the nearest available seat. Try not to hold private conversations, particularly before, during, and after teachings and so on. Please be mindfully quiet around the room, which is really important here because if you've been in our building, you know that the entry hallway is magnificent and beautiful, but it does convey noise. It's one of those things where we thought it was a good idea at the time, and the architect, made it look great, but we have to be careful. And it says, I love that they had to say all of this. I just love that they had to say it all because our home monastery is located in a resort region of upstate New York. And so it says, please do not go shirtless. Please do not wear shoes in the practice area. Now, we do have people who have slippers or shoes that are worn here because they have foot problems, and that's absolutely okay. There's no problem with that. But the fact that they had to say this was really kind of amusing. Please don't wear tank top, short skirts, or short shorts, because after all, in many of these Tibetan Buddhist places, there are monastic men and women. And it would be really nice if you kind of like covered, a little bit. And if you have offerings to make to the shrine, you can give them to the shrine keeper, and they'll make sure that it's offered. So that's a little bit about that. The next page in the booklet is about how to care for Dharma books. I just thought that you might be as trivia minded as I am. I love trivia, and I love to know everything I possibly could know. And this is about how to take care of your Dharma books. And, and again, it repeats the don't step over it and so forth and so on. And then it even tells you that if you need to dispose of a Dharma book, the most respectful way to do it is by burning. And then it gives you a little visualization to do before you burn the book, imagining that the blessings of the words of the book enter into your heart and then burning it. Now we finally come to the next page, which is about the Tibetan mala. Now we're going to go for another 10 minutes or so before our break. I want to apologize for how this was formatted and that the print is so darn tiny. I think that this is probably, it's at least 6-point type, but more likely 4-point type. I do apologize for this. I could not figure out how to format it larger. I'm going to get with my tech people and then have them help me do this. But a mala is a set of Tibetan prayer beads, and they're used for reciting mantras. And most malas contain 108 beads made from they could be made of any material: wood, seed, coral, semi-precious stones. They can be made in lots of different colors and sizes. The number 108 has special significance in Buddhism because it's said that the teaching of the Buddha counteract 108 type of negative mental states. The most prized malas are made of Bodhi seed, as the historical Buddha was said to have gained enlightenment while sitting and meditating under the shelter of a Bodhi tree. Animal bone malas are the least prized, as it is said that an obscuring energy can be left on the beads from the animal whose bones are used in making the beads for the mala. I have a funny story to tell about my teacher, Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche. Anytime somebody would show him a bone mala, he would say, "That's nice." At the beginning, he would say, I really think you need to use a seed mala instead. Can I give you one? And then he would give them a seed mala. And then he'd say, "Can I have the old one?" And they would give him the old one. And he said, "And I would go and bury them." And then after a while, he stopped doing that. The problem is, even though a lot of people like to use bone malas because it reminds them of the impermanence, the Buddhist teaching on impermanence, that life is short and that we too will someday be bone. It's really not a good idea. It's better to use the natural materials that are customary, such as the Bodhi seed and so on. The beads are all about the same size, with the exception of the guru bead, which is a larger bead that often has 3 holes drilled in it. And the reason it's called the guru bead is, in the old days, your guru would actually give you the bead, that bead. And occasionally practitioners make commitments to do accumulations of mantras. Like somebody may have the goal of reciting Om Mani Padme Hum 100,000 times, and so they will put strings of counters. They'll put strings of counters on their beads. I got my AV guy. Thank you very much. Is loaning me his mala as a demo here to show you. This is Bodhi seed mala. And it has a guru bead in the center. And then it also has beads at the quarter mala place. There are extra special beads at the quarter mala, at the half mala, and at the 3/4 mala. And the function of these is that sometimes people only need to recite a half mala of something or a quarter mala of something. Sometimes they take blessings from their teacher and get assignments to, this is so cute. One of the Tibetan lamas used to call it homework. Yeah, I am your teacher. I am giving you homework. And the homework I give you is to recite the Om Mani Padme Hum 108 times a day. And they would then do this. And then occasionally there will be counter beads. Often they will have at the end of them the image of a Vajra or the image of a bell. These are the 2 customary markers, but others exist. And the Vajra represents skillful means, and the bell represents wisdom. And so the practitioner has to have both wisdom and skillful means. And then there are small counters so that you can count your 100s and your 1000s. Khenpo Rinpoche said, doesn't matter which. He said, just pick one and remember that, which I just realized I moved your beads, sorry. I think there was only 1 here, so I think we're okay, 2 here. So he said, just know for yourself which is which. Then you will also see sometimes little clips put on them. These little clips are the 10,000 counters. And then some malas even have, oh, where's mine? Okay, here's mine. Mine has a 100,000 counter on it as well. So anyway, so I don't like these long strings because they tend to smack me in the glasses when I try to put it over my head. And I've scratched glasses and all kinds of stuff with. So I just keep it simple. How do you use a mala? We have a few loaners. Does anybody? I don't think we don't have enough loaner malas for everybody. I have a few. Oh shoot. Well, note to self: next time, get more. The way that the mala is used, it is customary, and I cannot tell you why, I do not know, but my teacher told me that in Tibet, it is customary to hold the mala in your left hand. Okay, so it's customary to hold the mala in your left hand, starting at the guru bead. And you have the mala draped over your hand like this, and you use your thumb to pull the mala beads toward you, like Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Some people like to have a large space. Some people like smaller spaces. Doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, Matthew and I were talking before our class today that we're going to have a mala making workshop in the late spring. I don't know whether it will be April or May, but it will be one of those 2 months. And I see we got a celebrator in the back. Yes, we have a couple of any other mantra class alumni here who, okay, she's enthusiastic. We love it. Okay. So we're going to have a mala making workshop so people can learn how to make them. And so you can make your own. And then what will happen is you'll make 2 malas during the 2 hours of the session. One mala will be for you and the other mala will be for us at KTC. And then we will have them here for people to purchase. So it'll be a fundraiser for us as well. And Matthew has learned how to make the sliding knot. See this little knot and that's white? It's a sliding knot. It will slide up and down and you can tighten your mala. So some people who like big spaces, some people who like big spaces in their mala can pull it down and have a bigger space. People who like shorter ones have a shorter space. So I think this is the best thing since sliced bread from my perspective. We may not learn this during the first mala workshop, but we might have a second class to just teach the knots. So this is how you use your mala. You go all the way, pulling the mala toward you, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, until you get to the guru bead, which I'm going to speed ahead to. Now, when Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche first started teaching us how to use it, he said, when you get to the guru bead, he said, you actually turn the mala around and go back so that you don't cross over the guru bead. He didn't tell me why. So I never got the reason from him as to why that was, but you would always turn the mala around. So you'll see people doing that. It is customary, by the way, to pull the beads over your index finger. That is the most customary way. You will occasionally see Tibetans pulling them over any of the other fingers. And there's actually a tradition of doing it over the other fingers for specific practices. But for all purpose use, it's the index finger. Any questions? Yes.
Is the left hand placed near the heart while using the mala?
You know, I've seen everybody do everything. I have seen people place the mala near their heart while they pull the beads across. I have seen people put the mala in their lap. I have seen people, I've seen virtually everything from the Tibetan lamas do it this way, and I've seen Western lamas do it this way. I've seen, what I will tell you is that I developed the custom of placing the mala close to my heart when I am leading Chenrezig on Zoom, so that people who needed a visual cue would know that it's mantra recitation time. Yeah, I used to do that just for the Zoom audience. Any other questions about? Yes, sir.
I know there are some practices where the is from seen.
Oh, yeah, malas aren't seen. Yes. Sure. There's a tradition in Hinduism, I know. The questioner is asking whether malas can be seen or not, because they've seen a tradition where a person does not allow their mala to be seen by others. That's when a person is in doing a retreat. When a person is doing a strict retreat, trying to, the word they use in English is accomplish a mantra, meaning that you are trying to recite 100,000 of 100,000 for each mantra syllable. So for Chenrezi, that would be 600,000. Sometimes they will shield their mala, and you will sometimes see old school Tibetans with their shawl down over their mala so it can't be seen. I've seen Hindu practitioners that go so far as to keep their mala in a bag and wear the bag over their hand. I've seen that. But I have not seen it widely practiced in the modern times. So, there are lots of things when you're trying to accomplish a mantra. There's sometimes when people are trying to accomplish a mantra, they want to do it on one seat. So when they're not reciting, they'll use a special like cat's cradle, like knot to tie their mala in and put it on their seat when they're not, so that they can say they're doing it on one seat, that their mala never leaves their seat. But that I don't see practiced in non-retreat settings. Yes. People are, the questioner is asking if it's customary to wear the mala all the time. I have to tell you, I don't know why, but I don't want to lose mine. So I do wear it around my wrist. Is that respectful? Is that disrespectful? I see everybody doing it. I've seen Tai Situ Rinpoche wear a mala around his wrist. And, I can't say if it's respectful or not respectful. I do not know the answer to that. But I do know that I feel happy seeing my mala and remembering Dharma, and that I try to, and that it actually has like a comforting, its presence is very comforting to me. And so I try to make sure I have it with me all the time, actually. And for people who complete the 3-year retreat, for whom one of their promises is that they will never be separate from the bell and Vajra, because they're Vajrayana practitioners, they will either wear a pendant with the bell and Vajra on it, or they'll have their mala with them all the time. And that's mine. I have a little bell, and I have a little Vajra on mine. So that's, there's time for one more. Is there one more? I hope you've enjoyed this part, because I really enjoy teaching about the mala. Did you have a question? Oh, no. Okay. I'm sorry. I misread what I was seeing. So guess what? It's time for our break. I'm going to call it a 7-minute break, and and then I will ring the gong when we're 1 minute from, or 2 minutes from the end. And so feel free to get up, move about the cabin. You can use the restroom, go downstairs, have a coffee, quick coffee. There may even be snacks downstairs. The mantra rolling crew is down there, so you'll probably want to sit at a table where they're not working. So thank you, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Oh, mine, it paid me. I had two questions come up during the break. One was to clarify about the feet. Because when people sit in chairs, the points of their their feet are pointing toward the shrine. Is that bad? And the answer is no, that's fine. That's fine. What you're not supposed to show the shrine are the soles of your feet. What you're not supposed to show the shrine is the soles of your feet. So you can be sitting in a chair and so forth. That's fine. That was the first question. Don, did you say you had a couple of questions from the Zoom audience?
Yes. With regards to the materials for mala beads, is shell acceptable or is it considered the same as bone?
Oh, that's a good question. I do not know the answer to that question. I apologize. I will check with the lamas and try to find out and let folks know later. I'm thinking it's okay, but I'm not 100% sure. So let me check.
Okay. And any thoughts on short wrist malas? I think less than 108 beads.
Oh, yeah. What about short wrist malas? Yeah, I'll tell you what. Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche gave me the one that I wear now, and it only has 18 beads on it. I mean, is what it is, right? Yeah. You can put whatever will fit, but I think the majority I can't even say the majority because they will all be different numbers of beads on wrist malas because of the sizes of people's wrists. You couldn't necessarily have a quarter mala, which is, oh gosh, let me see if I got the 27 or a half mala, which is 54. I mean, so like I say, the one that Rinpoche gave me has 18 on it and I got this tiny wrist. So that's other question.
What about care for your mala?
Oh, caring for the mala. I think that anything that goes for the care of any dharma item would also go for the care of your mala. You don't sit on it, step on it, that kind of thing. I think that's really the main thing. And I've seen people who will oil their beads occasionally to keep them from drying out, but I've just been using mine. I think that's really, to me, the best care you can give to a mala is using it every day, really, because a little of the oil from your fingers will keep it nice. Yes. The questioner is asking, is the mala mainly for a sitting practice, or can you use it while you're walking around? You absolutely can use it walking around. In fact, there's a Buddhist tradition that we have not really introduced here yet called circumambulation, where a person will walk in a clockwise direction around a sacred object. For example, the Buddha statue here has got relics in it, Buddha relics in it. And so I guess you could call it prayerful or mindful walking, but it's always in a clockwise direction, keeping your right shoulder toward the item that you are honoring. And so this circumambulation is common, and there are inner. It's actually called by the Tibetan name Kora, and that's spelled K, as in Kathy. K. Okay, then H-O-R, as in Roberta. A. Kora. And we have not introduced the practice here because we have not fully discussed things with our neighbor. And during the construction project, we crossed and trespassed on our neighbor's property frequently, and it was a point of contention. So because our properties are so close together, we're going to introduce circumambulation in a little bit of a broader sense, and that we're going to ask people to, if they want to circumambulate our buildings, not to walk between these two buildings, but then rather to go down to south to Sullivan Avenue, and then come up Pennington Alley and then go around. It's a little bit of a longer walk, and it includes lots of things that are not sacred, but this is common in Tibetan monasteries to have an inner kora and an outer kora. So we're going to just have 2 outer koras. I mean, you know, we'll have the kora around the whole block. We'll have the most, we'll call it the most outer. Yes.
Service or ceremony, and there's a
Yes, there's a circle. Yes, when we do our meditations on Sunday, we walk around in a circle. Could we go around the Buddha? Yeah, you can use your mala, sure, when you're doing your walk.
So,
Facing the Buddha. Oh, that's very interesting. I thought that clockwise, your right shoulder would be facing it. That's interesting. I haven't thought about that. When you're going in a clockwise direction, your left shoulder would be facing the Buddha. That's interesting. I don't know. I think you might have to walk backward for that. I'm wondering. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. And there's time for one more, because we do have a little material to cover yet.
Okay. I have a mala that has a metal skull beneath the guru bead. Is this okay?
You know, that's a really good question. I have not asked that question of anyone, of any of the lamas, what they think about skulls on malas, because I don't see any of the Tibetans having them. I only see Westerners having them. So it must be like a Western thing. And so I honestly can't tell you. I have never seen a Tibetan Lama with a mala with skulls on it. So I've never placed one on mine. I can't say that it's wrong, because I don't know, metal is okay. For beads, I think metal is okay, and because sometimes you'll see metal decorations on them. So I'm going to say it's okay. It's unusual among Tibetan teachers.
There's just one other quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Where can one source the Vajra and bell markers for a mala?
Oh, okay. The Vajra and bell strings. We're trying to get a source of them now. There are stores, online stores, and on my favorite one that I like to guide people toward is the Namse Bangso bookstore at our home monastery, and that's spelled Namse. That's the first word, Namse. Second word is Bangso, and it means the treasure house, and that's B as in boy, A, N, G, D as in David, Z as in zebra, O. Namse Bangso.
The link was-
And so there are lots and lots of other, and what you would ask for if you searched it on the web, if you did a web search, you would say Mala, M-A-L-A, counters, C-O-U-N-T-E-R-S, and then you might be able to find several sources. I myself just last week went to the Nepali store in Etna, and I plan to go by there again today, and I will see if they have them. I believe they do, but it's the store is not organized the way you might think, and so you would just ask at the desk. Yeah. Okay, thanks. The name of the store in Etna is Gurung Mart, and I'll spell that G-U-R-U-N-G, Gurung Mart, M-A-R-T. It's just It's just east of Reynoldsburg on Main Street. It's Main Street in Columbus, and it turns into Route 40. It has a different name once you leave the county. I think it's called Columbus Road, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But you can, yeah, they're there. They have grocery items mainly, but they have a whole side room that is full of like Nepali clothing. They have some of the Tibetan Buddhist musical instruments. They have little prayer wheels. They have, the prices are amazing. That's all I can say. They are amazing. They're very reasonable. And they have like decorations that you can put in your shrines. It's very, very beautiful. They've got a lot of stuff there. Okay. So I did say that we would talk about mantra and we would talk about mudra. So I won't have time. It looks to me like I won't have time to cover mantra right now because I think I'd like to spend the remainder of our time on mudras. I did not write an introduction to mudras in this booklet, so we can set it aside. So people have asked me about mudras, and we don't have anything about the mudras in the booklet, is what I was trying to say. But what I will say about them is that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk today, all Buddhist ritual is about, at the beginning, it's about mindfulness, being present in the moment with the Buddha and so on, and showing respect and so forth and so on. And in the Tibetan tradition, they have developed rituals which are sometimes called by their Hindi name, puja. That's P-U-J-A, puja. That's what they're called in Hinduism. But they're also, the Hindi language also uses the word puja, P-U-J-A. And the Tibetans just adopted that word. But the more correct word is mantra practice, M-A-N-T-R-A, mantra. Sometimes these mantra practice are sometimes called sadhana practice, and that's spelled S-A-D-H-A-N-A, sadhana. So whether you call it puja, sadhana, or mantra practice, whatever you call it, it consists of developing an attitude of sacredness about oneself and about the world. We've all heard the teachings of Buddhism that say every person is a potential Buddha. Everyone is a potential Buddha. There's no one who is not a potential Buddha, which is why the Buddha said it's important to respect others as much as you can. We're living in this world of confusion called samsara. And our job as Buddhists is to try to unravel our own confusion and try to transcend our own confusion. So it stands to reason that there will be times when we do not respect others or they don't respect us. This is going to happen. But we're trying, we're doing our best. And one of the ways we develop this respect for both ourselves and for others is by doing puja, doing ritual, doing mantra. Let me give you an example. Every Tuesday evening, we're mainly on Zoom still, but eventually we'll be in person. We recite the sadhanas of two enlightened beings. We recite the sadhana of Chenrezig, the Bodhisattva of compassion. And after that, we recite the sadhana or the puja of Amitabha, the Buddha Amitabha. Those two go together. Because if you read the stories, the legends of the lives of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, you'll know that Chenrezig, the Bodhisattva of compassion, his guru or his teacher was the Buddha Amitabha. But we don't have time to get into their story today. But this is why their sadhanas are frequently recited together. And it was the suggestion of the 16th Karmapa way back in the 1970s when he sent Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche to America. It was his idea to teach us. The very first meditations they taught us, before we even learned sitting meditation, was the mantra meditation of Chenrezig and the mantra meditation of Amitabha. And in a mantra meditation, you sit in practice and you first imagine that an enlightened being is present in front of you, or in the case of Chenrezig, that he's above your head. And thinking that you're in the presence of this visualized enlightened being, you imagine that they are present and you pray to them and ask for their blessing. And then you imagine that you receive their blessing in the form of light, and that light purifies all of your obstacles and obscurations and negative karma. And you also visualize that it purifies the entire universe. So the entire universe is now a Buddha realm. And then you become a Buddha. You become the Bodhisattva Chenrezig. And now you're in Chenrezig's pure realm. You are Chenrezig. All the beings are Chenrezig. It's kind of a nice thing to do on a regular basis, to visualize the world at peace and the world enlightened. It really does our heart good to, even though we know the world is a confused and messed up place, being able to, from moment to moment, from time to time, to imagine that it is what it could be. That's an amazing thing. And one of the features of this type of practice is offering. One of the offerings that are made during these sadhana practices are the offering bowls. The offering bowls on your shrine are symbolic of offerings that are made during the practice. In fact, some of the mantra practice explainer documents say that from your heart come rays of light that become offering goddesses, and those offering goddesses then make offerings of flowers, incense, lamps, and so on. And so as a way of enriching the experience of making these offerings and imagining the offering goddesses, you would actually use your hands to create a picture in space in front of you, in this lovely space that's in front of your heart. You know, you don't do your mudras out here or out here or out here. You do them right here in front of your heart. And you use your left and right hands together. They work together to create pictures. Gestures, these gestures are, or mudra, M-U-D-R-A, is a gesture. And it's these gestures that illustrate them. I'm going to show them to you first, and then I will walk you through how to do them. Remember Argam, our water for drinking? The way this is done is that we lace our fingers together and make a bowl out of our hands. Isn't that pretty? I mean, it's like, you know, it's very lovely. You know, we get a chance to make a little bowl for our water for drinking. Then we offer water for washing. And so in order to make that gesture, we pull our hands apart. And then we take we take our two small fingers and put our thumbs on top of them. Let's see, or did I do that wrong? I did that wrong. We put our thumbs on our pinky fingers, and then we cross them. Isn't that pretty? Left hand is traditionally on the bottom, right hand's usually on top. And so that is the symbol for washing, the water for washing. Let's do that again from the beginning. The water for drinking is the fingers laced together. Then we pull them apart. And I've yet again, I've done it wrong. I have to review. I said your pinky fingers, I'm wrong. It's your index fingers. Then you touch the thumb to the index finger and place the right hand on top of the left. Let's do that again. Hand in the bowl for the argam. Pull them apart, touch the thumb to the index finger, and place the right set on top of the left set. We doing okay so far? Let's do it again. Argam is our hands in offering of the water. And make a bowl out of your hand. Make a little bowl out of it. Okay, and then take them apart and then put the right fingers over the left. Oh gosh, you guys are doing good. So far we got 2. That's 2. That's pretty good, right? How you feel about it? You want to move on? Try to do the third one now? Okay. So we're going to do it one more time. Argam. And then take your fingers apart and padyam. Perfect. Now we're going to pick flowers. Yeah, we're going to pick flowers. You take your hands apart, turn your hands over so that they face the ground. Pretend you're picking something up with your fingers. And then turn your hand up and open your fingers. You've just picked some flowers. Isn't that cute? That's the offering of flowers. You pick and you open. Pretty good. You want to do that again? Pick, open. Okay. Open. Okay, let's go back to argam. Argam. Sorry, I don't know. I'm very weird. Put your fingers together for argam. Already? Okay, now you pull your hands apart. Padyam. Now let's pick some flowers. Pupe. Excellent. Let's do it again. Argam. Take your hands apart. Padyam. Pick some flowers. Pupe. I love the Sanskrit words for these. I just love the whole idea that pupe means flower. Sanskrit is fantastic. I mean, right? One of the oldest languages on the planet, right? Pupe. Okay. So now you want to learn the fourth one? Okay. So the next one is incense. Now, remember the flower you picked? Let's pick those flowers again. Pupe. Okay. So now you put your thumbs inside your curled fingers and hold them like this, like with your fists up and down, right? Okay, so that's dupe. That's incense. You could put like a little stick of incense in there, right? Okay, let's go back. Argam. Okay, so now you take your fingers apart. Padyam. Now you pick the flowers. Pupe. Now you curl your fingers around your thumb and put them together. Dupe. How we doing? We doing good so far? You guys are doing good. Argam. Okay, then pull your fingers apart. Padyam. Pick some flowers. Pupe. Offer some incense. Dupe. All right. Okay. Tired? Okay, we'll take a break. Okay, so far so good, right? All right. So we got 3 more, but you can do it. All right. Okay. Let's see if I think I got that too big. Oh, okay. Oh, we got 4 more to go. Sorry. Anyway, but that's all right. We'll get there. Let's start again. Argam. Okay, take the fingers apart. Padyam. Let's pick some flowers. Pupe. Offer some incense. Dupe. Now, you are not going to believe how easy the next one is. Allocate, okay, is allowing the thumbs to come up. These are the, you don't have to wiggle them, but they're so cute, right? Okay. Okay, so let's do dupe, and then allocate. That's the lamp. Lamp. Boop. There used to be this commercial on television for Bic cigarette lighters back in the day. And the catchphrase was flick your Bic. And so that's what I think of when I do. I'm sorry, anyway. I'm sorry if this is sacrilegious. Let's start again, Argam. Okay, so now we've offered the water for drinking. Pulling your fingers apart, Padyam. Pick some flowers, Pupe. Offer some incense, Dupe. Who can do Alake? All right, sound effects extra, okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go from here to offering perfume. Take your hands apart and just open your palms. Because in the old days, when you would apply perfume to someone's body, you would use the entirety of your hands. So that's Gende, that's perfume. Let's go back to the beginning. Argam. Pull the fingers apart. Padyam. Pick flowers. Pupe. Incense. Dupe. Aloke. Gende. Oh, we're almost home, guys. Two more. Okay, so now we're going to offer food. Guess what we get to do for that? We get to put our hands out like we're holding a tray of food. Very good. You did this before, right? Start again, Argam. I know it's a little tedious, but you'll get it. Then you pull the hands apart, Padyam. Pick some flowers, Pupe. Close your fingers, Dupe. Offer a lamp, Aloke. Offer perfume, Gende. Offer food, Newade. Okay, we are almost there. Once again, Argam. So sorry. Padyam. Pick flowers, Pupe. Offer incense, Dupe. Incense, lamp, Aloke. I should start again, Argam. Lama's getting old. Okay, Argam, hands apart, Padyam. Pick flowers, Pupe. Offer incense, Dupe. Have the lamp, Aloke. Perfume, Gende. Food, Newade. Now, the last one is music. And for music, you start with your hands out like this, because remember, you just offered food. So, okay, see if I get this. Okay, now I'm going to get this one right. Okay, so so your hands are out like this, and you curl your two little fingers and cover them with your thumb. And then I do a motion that I jokingly call the flying fish. I don't know why I call it this, it's dumb. But you bring your right hand toward you and up, and your left hand toward you and up. And then you make a drumming motion. Do, 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 do. And your hands, your palms are facing each other. Let's try that again from the open hands, okay? That's Newade. We've just offered food. So now we're going to offer music. Right hand in and up, left hand in and up. Dip, dip, dip. You guys know what you're doing. Argam. Okay, fingers apart, Padyam. Pick flowers, Pupe. Offer incense, Dupe. Lamps, Aloke. Gende, and perfume. Food, Newade. Music. Oh, you know what? You can do it the other way too. Right hand in first or left hand in first. You can do either one, I think. Shabda. Yeah. I'm naturally doing it with my left hand first. And then okay, what do you think? Yay. Oh yeah, and then you snap your fingers, right? Yeah. You snap your fingers at the very end as a way of saying, okay, offerings made. Argam. This is test time, okay? Okay, you guys do it. Argam. I'm watching. Don't worry, it's okay. Okay, Padyam. Okay, Pupe, pick some flowers. Make the incense holders. Dupe. Make the lamps. Aloe, you're looking good. Perfume, Gande. All right, yeah, okay. Offer the food, Newade. And then have your little flying fish. Shop that. Yeah, it'll take it and then snap. Yeah. So what do you think? You think you can do that? No. I will in the video, I have a video that was shot over my shoulder. I have two videos, one where it's coming from the front and one where it's shot over my shoulder. And those are the 8 offerings that are recited in the Amitabha sadhana. They're not used in the short Chenrezig sadhana that we do here every week, but they are used in the Amitabha. There are different traditions of these mudras. There are some special practices that have been developed over the years. One of them is the sadhana of green Tara. And her mudras, her offering mudras are different. And this is because the practice comes from a different lineage of masters. And when these special practices come down, they come down, many of them with their own special sets of mudras. So again, the symbolism is we're offering water for drinking, water for washing, flowers, incense, lamps, perfume, food, and music. And then that's making the offering. Pretty good, right? And so hopefully this will help you as you do your practices, as you work along with us. Now I know you might be tired. Let me look at the list and see what I didn't cover. Oh, someone did ask about the significance of the instruments. I won't be able to get into that this time. I'll ask Kathy Jackson to cover it in the Medicine Buddha. But there was someone who asked about the bell and Vajra, so yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you show the Mount Meru offering?
Oh, the Mount, yes. I tell you what, I got to tell you, everybody, I really debated about this. I'm going to take if I show the mandala offering, which is what the person is asking, if I show that one, it's going to take 10 minutes. But if you guys are okay, staying 10 minutes, we can do it. So here's what I wanted to show you first. People asked about the bell and the Vajra. The bell symbolizes wisdom and the Vajra symbolizes skillful means. And because they're symbolic of your path to Buddhahood, you should never put them on a bare table. You should always put a piece of cloth underneath them. And the way you place them on the table is with the bell on your right and the Vajra on your, to your, it'd be like, here's my right hand, so it's right. And the Vajra is on the left. Now, you might say, why is that? And I am not 100% sure. My ritual master did not explain that piece of it to me. But when you go to pick them up, because the Vajra is held in the right hand and the bell is held in the left hand, you must cross your hands. And I think that the idea of the crossed hands has to do with transformation and working for the benefit of beings and so on, because then you pick them up and uncross your hands. There's also a fancy way of doing it, but I'm just going to show you the simplest way there is. And so it would take me another 20 minutes to explain the symbolism of the bell and the Vajra, which I will not do today, but I will make it part of my next class. I'm going to do another Buddhist Ritual 101 And it will be I'll do one just about the bell and just about the instruments and playing the bell and all of that. And then Kathy Jackson will also cover the bell in her Medicine Buddha class. Finally, I will be teaching the next Buddhist Ritual 101 class will be on February 18th, Saturday, February 18th. In the morning, I'm going to be teaching the Buddhist daily incense offering. Because Tibetan New Year is coming up. It will be Tuesday, February the 21st. And the weekend before the New Year, the fire offering, or not fire offering, the smoke offering or the incense offering will be done. And so I thought it would be fun if I taught you how to do it and taught you how to chant it and how to make it. And so that class will be a 2-hour class at this same time on Saturday, February 18th. So you can watch for it there. Kathy Jackson will teach about the bell and vajra in her Medicine Buddha class, if you'd like to attend that. And then I'll do a special thing just on the bell and vajra. I'll do Buddhist Ritual 101 just on that. Don't know what month it'll be in. Might be March, might be April. But I want to keep doing these Buddhist Ritual 101 classes because I feel like it's really important. So I was asked to show one more mudra. And this one, it is a little complicated, and I promise this will be the end of the class today. So in case you have someplace to go, I understand, but it'll take about 5-10 minutes. Many people have seen that, have heard about the offering of the mandala. The word mandala means center and surrounding. And it's used to describe the pure realms of Buddhas, in which the Buddha is at the center of that realm, and all the bodhisattvas and attendants and so forth are around them. But the fact of the matter is, remember I talked about cultivating a sacred outlook and a sacred world in oneself? Oneself is a potential Buddha. Therefore, right now we have what you might call a mundane mandala that we are at the center of. Our family, our friends, our co-workers, our home, our workplace, and so on. All of this is our surrounding. So we, in a way, are the center of a universe. And we can offer not just our universe, but the entire universe to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as a way of cultivating a mind of virtue. And by the way, fun fact, a bell depicts, these ritual bells depict a mandala. It's just circular rather than square. The Buddha's in the center and it's surrounded by the bodhisattvas and so forth. It's a really fascinating teaching I'll give later. So the center and surrounding, oh, you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up about
Yeah.
the bell and vajra, sorry. Is it proper to have them on the shrine? And if not, where should they be placed or stored?
Good question on that. I will drill down a little deeper as to whether the bell and vajra should be placed on the shrine when you're not using them. When we were in 3-year retreat, we typically kept them on our prayer tables, our puja tables. And if a person doesn't have a puja table to put them on, you could put them on your shrine. Yeah. So if you want to know how to offer the universe, the universe offering of oneself, all of one's universe, as well as the universe, they use a formula in which in ancient times, the universe was said to be vast and huge, like an ocean, and that there was the center of that universe, which they called Mount Meru, the anchoring mountain. and that it had at each of the cardinal directions, it had continents, this imaginary universe, the central mountain and 4 continents. And that it was, this imaginary universe was held to symbolize us, our universe, and symbolize the universe, the galaxies, everything, right? Is in the form of this central mountain and 4 continents. And believe it or not, you can use your hands to make this offering. You can have a symbolic mountain and 4 continents created with your hands. And so I'm going to show this to you. It's going to be a little complicated, but maybe not. You know, you have small fingers, right? Okay, so you cross your small fingers in a V at the in front of you. You cross your hands so that your small fingers form a V. And then you hold those small fingers down with your thumbs. Whew, now you have 4 fingers accounted for. Only a few more to go. These are 2 of your continents, by the way. Your small fingers with the thumbs on top of them, that's 2 continents. Then you place your ring fingers, you stand them up and have them stand next to each other. If you're lucky, you can put them back to back. I cannot really do that, but that's your central mountain. And now the other 4 fingers make your other 2 continents. The left index finger grabs the right middle finger, and the right index finger grabs the left middle finger. So now you have 4 continents and a central mountain. Isn't that amazing? You did it. It's a little awkward. And if you're like me and have arthritic hands, it can be a little challenging. But let's take them apart. Let's do it again. You make a V with your little fingers and hold them down with your thumbs. Now you don't have to do anything with them again. I mean, that's what's really great. You get 4 fingers out of the way right away. Put the ring fingers next to each other. And then use your index fingers to grab the opposite middle fingers. Use your index fingers to grab the opposite middle fingers. So you have to cross them in a V. And so you use the right index finger to grab the left middle finger, and then you use the left index finger to grab the right middle finger. So that's it. You use your indexes to grab your middle fingers and you make it into a V. Pretty cool, right? Now let's see. I'm looking around the room to see how we're doing. Let's see. I'll tell you what, it is hard to do, isn't it? You have to hold them out. Yeah, so it's a little hard to do. I feel like we're not quite there. So let's make the hands flat. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Make them flat. Put the little fingers in a V. Make a V with your little fingers, and then grab them with your thumbs. Just place them down, press them down. And now your ring fingers will stand up next to each other. And then you grab the middle fingers with the opposite indexes. And what I'll do is I'll stay behind to work with you if you'd like to learn one-on-one. So we've got a good start. And there's a video of this online. Good work, good work, good work, good work, good work, good work. Yeah, I know it hurts, doesn't it? Good work, good work. Okay, you guys did great. And I have a lot of fun teaching this because I've figured out after teaching it a lot that there are ways to teach it that are easier. So we're going to have to stop here for today. And I can't thank you enough for coming to Buddhist Ritual 101. You know, mudras, malas, and mantras, mudras, and so forth. I didn't get to cover mantras, so I'll have to make sure I get to those next time. Those of you who are here, we're going to dedicate our merit. If you're at home, you can follow along with the sheet. I think, John, you've got it for the Zoom audience. We're going to gather together all the goodness and good intentions and pure virtue that we've generated here while we've been together. And we're going to dedicate it all to the liberation of all beings, because all this ritual, really, the function of all this ritual is to help us to become better people and to help us to transcend confusion and become Buddhas. So now we're going to dedicate all of that to the liberation of all, using the words, by this merit. We'll start there. By this merit, may all attain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy, wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. The courageous Manjushri, who knows everything as it is. Samantabhadra, who also knows in the same way. And all the bodhisattvas, that I may follow in their path. I completely dedicate all this virtue. Now we'll sit quietly for just a moment and rest our mind. That's the ultimate dedication. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks again to the volunteers who made it possible, and thank you for being here. Drive safely, and we will see you next time. Thanks to the friends at home on Zoom, and thank you, Dawn and John, for making it possible.